Man, back in the day, Rare worked fast. The original Donkey Kong Country took the platforming world by storm in November 1994, and a short year later, Rare was already ready to deliver another quick blow to the jaw with Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. Coming from the current day industry's multiple year development cycle, this may seem crazy. Yearly sequels? What is this, Call of Duty? Shigeru Miyamoto continues to mockingly ask, despite Donkey Kong Country neatly and politely blowing his socks off in my review of the first game. It did. It was just off screen. He didn't want that whole endeavor to be public. But really, in a current industry of yearly Call of Duty sequels, a billion Assassin's Creed and Far Cry sequels, and 3 Pokemon games in the span of a year, is it that crazy to believe that Rare would have been able to release a sequel in such a short time span? It's not like Donkey Kong Country was a long game, and establishing a foundation always speeds up the next project, so it makes sense. Of course, did this shorter development time leave the game in ship shape, or were they monkeying around when they decided on that schedule? Those kooky Kremlins are at it again, only this time, they've upped the stakes. Last time, they made off with Donkey Kong's bananas and kinda sorta took over Donkey Kong Island. Here, they made off with something far more precious to Donkey Kong, himself. Yes, that's right, a bunch of goofy crocodiles, led this time by the notorious and totally not King K. Rool, Captain K. Rool, kidnapped the King of Swing himself and carried him away to Crocodile Isle. Using the big lug as ransom, Captain K. Rool demands a banana horde, for some reason. Of course, he isn't going to get away with pulling shit like this, considering there's a game to be played here. Instead of Donkey and Diddy setting out to put the Kremlings in their scaly place, since DK is kind of kidnapped and all that, it's Diddy and his newly established girlfriend Dixie. The Kong family has a lot of heroic D's in the family. Nothing more to it than this, other than the pirate theme. It's all simple stuff. Of course, Diddy and Dixie aren't alone, as the other Kongs also travel the island with them, somehow building entire establishments right under the Kremlings' noses. Unless they already had these ready to go, which would mean that the Kong family used to live here as well. Either that or they are just really quick builders, though this is probably a don't think about it too hard moment of gaming, much like a lot of stuff was back then. Returning from the first game are Cranky and Funky Kong, and they both do what they did prior, offering tips in Cranky's case and taking you back to previously explored worlds in Funky's. New to this adventure are Swanky Kong and Wrinkly Kong. Swanky Kong is a gussied up game show host with the most that offers the Kongs a chance to play in some trivia games for extra lives. This is a fun addition as it tasks players to pay attention to things in-game, asking such crazy questions as how many items are on the wall in a specific room on a specific stage. Wrinkly, on the other hand, does the most important thing, something I bet you already know considering I left a certain Kong out that was present in the last game. As you might have guessed, Wrinkly Kong, the wife of one Cranky Kong, is who now saves your game. Not only that, she now also gives tips, just ones with a different focus than her cranky old husband. From a gameplay's perspective, the Kongs haven't changed a whole lot, other than adding Swanky and switching from furry bait for a save station, but it's even nicer to have them around as their personalities show even more. With the story and the friends out of the way, nothing stands in the way of the actual gameplay, and let me tell you that it's pretty much the exact same as before. From a 2D perspective, you run, jump, and climb your way to the goal. You still have the same abilities from the first game. You can run by holding the Y button, jump with the B button, cartwheel or in Dixie's case twirl your hair with the Y button, and can swap out Kongs with the select button. You can also jump and grab ropes like in the first game, but here they are heavily expanded. Not only do ropes just go up and down or swing, here they also can be horizontal or expand like webs, letting you move freely about them. These greatly expand upon Rare's ability to design the levels, and it fits the pirate theme they're going for, as do the enemies with the swashbuckling appearances, despite keeping to the same roles as before with some new surprises. Just like before, barrels make themselves at home in the environment, joined by crates this time, and you can pick them up with the Y button and release the button to toss them at enemies or objects. Of course, you can either jump on or cartwheel into most of the enemies present, but barrels let you take them out from a distance. Barrels can also contain a Kong, whichever you are missing, acting as your second hit point. Not sure why the Kong family's first instinct is to go and hide inside a barrel after getting beat up, but that is beside the point. Partway through each stage is a checkpoint barrel that will let you try again from there if you die, and some stages still have animal buddies for you to ride. Stop me if you heard this before. Some stages take place underwater as well, offering a change of pace from the typical hopping and jumping. Now, minecart levels are gone, but do have an equivalent, and they also play the same, just without the weight thing from Donkey and Diddy before. Diddy and Dixie both watch their waistline, unlike Donkey. Barrel stages also return, as in stages where you are firing yourself from barrel to barrel in order to make it to safety. Now, all this similarity is to be expected and is not in any stretch of the word surprising or bad. In fact, it's great to see them expand upon the formula they came up with before, improving what needed to be improved and keeping what worked while adding new stuff to the mix. Speaking of the new stuff, what kind of Super Nintendo sequel would this be without some new features? I don't know, actually. Not this kind anyway, as Donkey Kong Country 2 has plenty of new things, other than the expanded ropes like I mentioned before. One change is the animal buddies, with this being the most radical new feature. For the most part, the animal buddies function like they did before, though they have seen a roster swap up. Gone are Espresso the Ostrich and Winky the Frog. They bow out for new hotness and animal partners, with Rambi the Rhino, Enguarde the Swordfish, and Squawks the Parrot returning alongside newcomers. These newcomers are Rattly the Rattlesnake, Squitter the Spider, Clapper the Seal, Glimmer the Anglerfish, and Quawks the Parrot. Now, Rambi and Enguarde play as they did before, only with the addition of a charge attack they can both perform by pressing and holding A, but Squawks has an entirely new role: flight. In the last game, Squawks appeared a total of once, and it was just to carry a light for our hairy heroes. Why he couldn't help out in Blackout Basement is beyond me, so it wasn't too much of a change from the typical level with him around. Here, Squawks is all freakishly grown up and is able to carry Diddy and Dixie around. He is one of the few animal buddies that changes the dynamic of the stage itself, as now you have verticality to take into account, as well as Squawks' ability to shoot eggs from his beak. As for the new additions, Glimmer takes Squawks' old role, just keeping the darkness to underwater, and Clapper is used to cool down water, either to be able to swim in or freeze, making the two of them fairly uncommonly used. In regards to the remaining three, Rattly, Squitter, and Quawks, they're as game-changing as Squawks is. Rattly is a coiled up snake and lets the duo jump extremely high, even having a charge jump that makes him jump even higher. He can also jump on zingers, which Rare used to lead to some quick thinking platforming where one mistake leads to your demise. Now, Quawks is just a stripped down Squawks, usually used as an obstacle course, and is used very rarely. Still, he changes the levels enough to be worth mentioning, as he can't fly or attack, only slowly drifting down, forcing the Kongs to quickly move to the left or right to avoid enemies. Squitter changes the game the most outside Squawks, as he is, well, a spider. He can shoot webs, taking out enemies, which can be aimed by holding the D-pad up or down. With a press of the A button, you'll shoot out a folded up web, which can be opened with another press of the A button, making a platform. This gives you a whole new avenue of exploration in the levels, and the levels built around them are intense games of precision platforming, especially since the webs will disappear in a short period of time. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Princess Chaser and Donkey Kong Country getting hit on your animal buddy causes them to run away. How can you design levels around them if they can be gone just like that? Well, that's easy actually. In levels designed for the animal buddy, you play as only the animal buddy, not the Kongs. Yes, in these stages you'll come across a barrel with the buddy on it, and hopping inside will turn you into them, complete with a token in the bottom left corner showing an extra hit if both Kongs were together. This is a great change as it lets the developers have more liberty with the level design, and these also tend to be the hardest levels in the game. When the game doesn't want you to be the animal buddy anymore, there is a signpost that when you pass it, causes the animal buddy to disappear, leaving an item behind. This lets you know that you are either near the end of the stage or the stage is about to shift designs. Outside the animals and the buddies, the Kongs themselves have some new tricks up their sleeves, such as the ability to hang from hooks and the ability to team up. Now the hook thing is self-explanatory. You can hang from hooks placed in the environment. From here, you can make another jump, with them just acting as a platform where your movement is beyond limited. As for the team-up, it's a little bit different, despite also potentially being self-explanatory. With a press of the A button when both your Kongs are together, the off character will ride the controlled character's shoulders. Now this will slow you down and limit your actions, but it also lets you throw the other Kong like a barrel, taking out enemies from afar. Now, they aren't as potent as barrels, as enemies like zingers will just kill the Kong you are tossing, but you can also control the Kong in the air slightly, meaning you can toss them to places you can't reach. In a situation like this, you'll be then whisked to wherever you toss the other Kong, making this technique good for secret hunting. There are also stages with honey all over that can limit your movement. When a Kong jumps in honey, they can't move along the ground, they can only jump. This might seem restricting, and it is, but if the honey is on the wall, the Kongs can stick to it there too, allowing you to jump your way up the wall. One other thing is that Dixie herself has her own unique move, her hairspin. If you press Y in the air while controlling Dixie, she'll go all Earthworm Jim or Rayman and use her hair to slow her fall and take her further. This makes the stages easier overall, but it's balanced enough by the fact that you might not always have her. Though it is weird that one character is worse than the other, despite it not making a difference too often. Overall, some of these things are used more than others, but they all go a long way to make the game stand out from the first game. What would a Donkey Kong game be without its level gimmicks? Not a Donkey Kong game, as they are back full force here. Unlike the first game, however, the gimmicks persist a little more throughout the game as a whole, but there are some intense level-specific gimmicks that harness the energy from the first game with the sophistication of being a sequel. Levels such as the Hot Balloon stage or the aforementioned Quack stage, they all lend themselves well to making the world stand out. Now, I don't want to mention them too much, as discovering them is part of the appeal to the game, but know that they are back and are as devilish as ever, maybe even more so coming on the end of the game. Now, I mentioned in the review for the last game that the bosses blew. It seems Rare also thought that, as the bosses have been vastly improved here. Gone are the regular enemies with simple patterns. Here are unique enemies with unique ways of defeating them with unique patterns. Sure, there's a total of one reused boss, but even then it is remixed enough that it doesn't feel like the same boss. Of course, the bosses are still the least interesting part of the game, but at least this time they aren't complete momentum annihilators. I'm not angry when I come to a boss fight, as I know it'll at least be some fun. Sure, they boil down to just tossing something at something, but the patterns getting there are a lot more enjoyable. Now for the plunder. On Diddy's first adventure, he and Donkey came across bonus rooms that just award the duo with either a Kong letter or bananas. Here they have a way more important rule, Creme coins. These are big dumb gold coins with Captain K. Rool's big dumb face on them, and they are your rewards for completing not only the bonus rooms, but also the boss fights. What are these coins used for? The Lost World, that's what. A new world that is unlocked level by level for large amounts of Creme coins that offer untold challenges. What is the point of the Lost World? That is for you to find out, my friend. This simple addition makes the game that much better, as there is now a reason to explore and find the bonus rooms other than a simple percentage on the file select. The useless collectibles are saved for DK coins, something really hidden in each stage. Rare definitely upped the content this time. You read that header right. The Kongs established an economy this time. Not only do you have bananas, Kong letters, and life balloons to collect, you also now have banana coins. Bananas, Kong letters, and life balloons all do the same as they did before. 100 bananas a life, all 4 Kong letters and a stage a life, and the life balloons clearly give you lives, with red being 1, green being 2, and blue being 3. The coins are used for things outside the stages, such as paying up to get hints from Cranky, or paying up to travel to and fro with Funky, or paying up to save the game. Yes, you heard that right, you need to pay to save the game. Bring back Candy. Not only did you lose a furry waifu, as monkey as she looked, we also lost free healthcare. Oh, the humanity. Now, this might sound bad, but it sounds worse than it is. Your first save in each world is free, and the costs increase each time you save in that world from then on. Thankfully, coins respawn, so you can replay levels to get more, making this a tedious non-issue, but boy does it suck. Now, it makes sense for the other stuff. Paying Cranky for hints makes sense. Paying Funky to go from world to world makes sense. That barrel plane doesn't fuel itself after all. Paying Wrinkly for advice makes sense, and paying Swanky to participate in this game show makes sense. He is giving you lives after all. So yeah, it sucks, but it's not deal breaking. Now, everything I described already is great and all, and would make the game stand out on its own, but it's the visuals that really sell it, just like before. As with the first game, the visuals are 3D models, just digitized to 2D sprites, and they still look amazing. The visuals are just as nice as they were before, but with way more detail in the environments, as they decide to go with a lot less realistic with the stage dressings this time. Gone are the more realistic jungles and glaciers and the factories. Instead, we have pirate ships, giant swamps, amusement parks, and giant beehives. They really upped the variety of the worlds and kept it all consistent to boot. Also, levels just don't end. They end with a bonus game where you have to time your jump from high up, and you can earn a prize if you time it correctly. The reason I put this here is if you earn a prize, you'll get a music show from the Kong you are controlling. This adds even more personality to the game and is quite charming. This is just as good looking as the first game, and personally, I think it looks way better thanks to the new themes and the new setting. Of course, we can't talk about any form of presentation without talking about David Wise's amazing music. The man himself returns with a vengeance, as this is just as much a step up from the first game as the rest of the game. From the jolly pirate theme bop to the beautiful sticker brush symphony, the music is absolutely incredible and holds a place among my heart as one of the best video game soundtracks ever produced. The music is not only just straight up great music, it also sets a nice tone for the gameplay itself, even making things atmospheric at times. As I said in the review of the last game, there is a reason David Wise is considered a legend. This might come as a surprise, but this is probably one of the few games I can think of where I have no real complaints. Normally this is where I would complain about a dumb little system, though I guess I did with the coins being needed to save, some weird visual bug, or bland gameplay, but here I don't really have anything negative to say. The only potential negative I can think of is that it might be a tad difficult at times, but that isn't really a bad thing. So instead, I'll say that I am bloody surprised that nothing major went wrong in such a short time frame. Though, still not sure on the decision to make Diddy a worse character gameplay-wise. Who would have thought that Rare could take such an amazing game and make it even better in the span of a year, all while delivering a completely polished experience? It goes to show that talent goes a long way, and Rare had that in spades before their inevitable demise in 2002. Donkey Kong Country 2 has no right to be as good as it is, even if the first game is hard to complain about, but here we are. While there might be some small flaws like the coins being needed to save and Diddy just being Diddy, the experience as a whole is not soured by these at all. The tight, fun, precision, and timing-based gameplay mesh perfectly with the new additions of animal buddies, new stage hazards, and even new traversal options. Combine that with the visuals continuing to be amazing and the music upping its game, and you have something special, something I'm going to award a 10 out of 10. To me, a 10 out of 10 game just means it's an irreplaceable experience, and that is what Donkey Kong Country 2 is. If you haven't played it and you like platformers, you need to play this game. Unless you are allergic or prejudiced against furries, then there might be a problem, I guess.